Well, I'm not running. I finished running, and I just thought I'd come outside to do a little update on something I've been thinking about, and it's about life after COVID. What are we all going to do after that? It's going to happen eventually, if most of us live long enough for that to happen. Uh, but I think it's important to think about it now because it's going to be different, right? And not only when the society and the economy opens up again, nobody really knows what it's going to be like. It's certainly going to be different than it is now. People think they know what will be happen, like it's going to be the same. It obviously won't. But how are you going to prepare for it now? I mean, that's what um, it seems we all should be thinking about. And I think planning. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just old or whatever, but I mean, you always want to be hopeful, but you really have to plan for the worst because the worst you could see happens a lot nowadays, right? You can't, when I grew up in the 50s and 60s, people planned in a straight line and life was easy, in a way. But now it's always disrupting. So how are you going to take care of yourself in a society that it's going to be less secure. Life is more and more insecure because more things from external that you have no control of is going to happen in life. So how are you going to handle that? And that's why to remain optimistic is very important so that you have that energy that something will happen. And that optimism comes from trying a lot of things and getting little glimpse of hope. That's what happens, I think. That's what keeps people to remain optimistic. And the only way you're going to get that positive feedback of little glimpses of hope is trying a lot of things. You can't just bet the farm on one thing and say, hey, this is going to make me $1 million, because it probably won't. Anything that I think you decide is going to be your future probably ain't going to be. Or there's a good chance of that. And so you have to prepare for most of the things you're going to try is going to fail. And so it's how you're going to be resilient to live through shit that's not going to work. And that's the important thing. So you could be optimistic, but don't count on it working. Oh, as soon as all this is over, man, I'm going to get a paying me to sit on my butt and make $1 million. And shit, that's not going to happen. Didn't happen in the past, so it won't happen in the future. So what you have to do, to me, is start training, start getting ready, start investigating, start doing as much as you can to train for options that are possibilities. Not they're going to be for sure, because nothing is for sure. So what are you going to do after all this happens or is over? It changes. And I think there's some things you could do. One is starting learning how to make income yourself. Because if you're making income yourself, then you don't have to rely on other people. There's a lot of ways to do this. And don't spend any money doing that, because that's another trap. You're going to spend money on figuring out how to make money. The only people going to make money out of that are the people selling you the product. There's too many ways to make money now without having to spend a nickel. People need things done, always will be. You have to get out there and find out, okay, what do I have that I could do for other people and get paid? That's what business is all about. Finding that. And now with the internet, there's better ways to do that. The platforms, the gig economy is a good way to start learning that a little bit more, how people buy things and for you. So join up for things. I mean, Uber may not be a good place for you to do that, but there's many other places. Whether it's TaskRabbit and all these other places, you just sign up to do these little jobs and earn some extra income to find out how that works. You could be a translator, not a translator, just speak English, and Chinese kids from China call you up and they spend $20 an hour or whatever just to talk English to somebody here. And then, so there's so many ways to make money. You could fix things in the neighborhood or whatever. So that's always available. I mean, if you go to the big job sites now, not the job, but people, what I find are good, like Glassdoor. I mean, you could just put in work from home, and then never pay anybody to work from home. But there are a lot of gig economy jobs that are there. Like now, even to be one of these people that follow up on people who have the virus. We're hiring hundreds of thousands of people to do that from home now. County governments are doing that all over. You could go on those websites and find where those jobs are. Your local county or a county 1,000 miles away could hire you just to follow up on people who got the virus to find out who they met, so you could warn them that they may have it too. And that's a big job increase. There's a lot of things that are going to be growing. The old things, maybe not. So you have to be careful of that. I mean, now I just heard the restaurant industry. They're talking about in Congress another $130 billion to pump into the restaurant industry, particularly small restaurants. So that may be a good opportunity. So, also you have local places where you live to find out about free information. One is your Career One-Stop Center. If you put in your county government and Career One-Stop, call them up and say, hey, what are the growing jobs or in your area? See, they keep track of labor markets. They keep trying to train people for the jobs of the future. They have money to train you for the jobs of the future. So find out what's going on there. See, if you're not doing anything and things are slow, find out what's going on and what are opportunities now, not when the whole thing comes back to life again and then you're in line. No, you get, find out now. Go to your local community college. They know what jobs, even if you have a PhD, man, because you could go to a local community college, maybe even for free, and over 6 months get a skill that you can make $60,000 an hour just right after your training, and that may not be bad to start with, so why not? Things like that. And that's in the local area, because they know what jobs are going to be filled, where we need people, where the big companies. See, the big companies, when they're hiring somebody, they go to local government because they'll train them for free. They don't have to train them. So find out about those programs. So that's your Career One-Stop. Your local small business development center. If you want to be a freelancer, anything like that. If you want to be a real estate investor, find out how they could help you with that. They're free, they're consulting, they know consultants that get paid by the government to help you make money at home for free or start your own business or anything like that. That's what they're there for. And they're all free. You need legal advice, you need tax counseling help. All that stuff is for free. You're going to sit home and think of something, I'm going to be a millionaire doing something. More power to you if you think, but that's not likely. You have to go out and figure out how to feed yourself and start with that and then become a millionaire. You got to learn how to feed yourself first. Don't put the cart before the horse, as they say. And that's what, start planning for options that you have. If you're going to go to school or something, there's ways to go to school for free. You want to get an MBA, there's things that are a fraction of what you're going to charge at a normal school that's going to charge you, hundreds or tens of thousands of dollars that you'll have to pay back. That's crazy. Why go into debt to get another degree that you're not even sure where the hell the job is? No, there's ways to do that. You want to get a degree, there's other ways to do it a lot cheaper than going to traditional school. If you have a lot of money and you can afford to lose it, fine. Who am I to say? But don't get tied up into debt on something that you think is a good idea. Man, just think, you didn't think this would happen a year ago. Where we are now, nobody did, right? So what we think, we can't bet on what we think is being right. So that's why we have to go out and learn our opportunities. And that's why this is a great time to learn about those things. And that's why people at Let's Go Help Just tell me the kinds of things that you're interested in doing. I'll show you places to go for free help to find out more about that stuff. Find out you want to get involved in a nonprofit or something like that. Then yeah, you go and find a local nonprofit to work with for free. You could do that right now. You want to start a homeless shelter, in your neighborhood because you see a lot of homeless and a lot of people are hurting. So we all need help. And you want to raise money and how to do that. Go volunteer for somebody who's already doing that. That's the important way to do that, to learn. Not to say, oh, I know the way to do it and I've done it before, right? So you go out and see what people are doing. That will get you up the learning curve a lot faster. Or being a real estate investor. Don't go and take a real estate course for $10,000 or whatever, how to invest in real estate. You don't know enough to take the course. And that's why they could sell you the course, because you don't know enough. But you can learn all that stuff for free if you go to meetup.com and go. There'll be there'll be places in your community where you can go to meetups on real estate investing. People who are already investing in real estate, they meet once a month somewhere. There's probably a dozen, depends on where you live, that they're in the area, and you go down and buy a pizza for $10 and you pick the brains of people who've been doing this for 10, 20 years or whatever, or 2 months or whatever, and they're free to learn. Don't get trapped into searching Google and the internet. And my microphone was turned the other way. I hope people are hearing me. And you don't have to do that. Don't get sucked in. I think the biggest sin is getting sucked into spending money to think we're going to get more money. It sounds logical and whatever, and you have to make money. You have to have money to make money. There's reasons to prove anything. But if you don't have money, man, then it's all wrong. Because you don't have money, you can't do that. All you're going to do is wind up bigger in debt. Sure, there's exceptions. And there are people that maybe did it somewhere, whatever, and we could always find somebody who did something. There's always people. I mean, it was a big country. The people have done lots of things different way. But whether you do it or not, you can't take the risk unless you have a lot of money. If you don't have a lot of money, you're just risking getting worse in trouble than you are now. So if you're in trouble and worried about income, do not take loans or any of that other stuff to hopefully get out of that trouble and less income and by spending more money and going into debt or whatever it is. I mean, that's just crazy. I mean, unfortunately, we do that as a country, right? We're in big financial trouble. We're going in debt by the trillions, right? And I think I guess it helps or whatever. Certainly people are getting a lot of help from that, and there's probably going to be more. We don't know yet how much more is going to be in the next stimulus package or whatever. But there obviously is going to be more because people are still hurting, and the politicians have a election coming up, so they don't want to seem stingy and not helping people because they're all living very well, right? They don't have to worry about paying anything. So, but more importantly, they want to get reelected, and that's why the stimulus package go. And what happens? We go into debt for another trillion or more, and your kids, my great-great-grandkids will be paying off that stuff. But it's more important that you become self-sufficient and learn to generate your own income. And I think now there's more ways to do that than ever before. You want to work for somebody else and a lot of skills. You do have to work for somebody else. Then you got to get that formal education. But you may or may not need it for learning how to survive and create income yourself. And I think even in the traditional jobs, that's getting less because we see that people are going into debt and not able to buy a house, a car, or have a family because they got to pay off student debt. We're the only developed country that does this to people, and it sounds crazy. And who's making money off of this? Well, it's the bankers who process the loans. They have a good lobby. The for-profit universities have a good lobby, and even the regular universities. They're building, $5 billion gymnasiums or whatever on their campus so they could attract you to get a loan to come to their campus and learn something. why are we turning campuses into health clubs? Isn't college a place to learn? No, they're resorts for rich kids. And so they got to, and then you go and get a loan to go to their resort. Now, would you get a loan to go on a cruise? Yeah, that's what you're doing. You're going to have to pay for that forever. Yeah. So they're making it like a cruise line instead of a place to learn something. You want to learn something. So learn a skill. And you can always start better by, if you really want to learn, is start at your local community college. It's the best deal this country has to offer. Most of it is free if you don't have a lot of money. And there's even, we need so many people trained locally that they give the community college money to train people. And so you could get all it paid for depending on what you want to decide to do. And also, you get a job right after that too. And so it's more secure than anything. And then if you want to get more, it's a stepping stone. So you get your first 2 years paid at a nothing or a huge discount before you go on. And that seems to be, the key to this. So I think you always got to think long term, because what's going on now certainly won't be forever. But start investing in ideas and possibilities now before the end of this happens, and then you rush out, because then you'll know ahead of time what's going on. So don't let the time waste. You have good time. Start checking out your local community college. Start checking out your local career one-stop. Go to 211.org. Look for nonprofits that maybe you could volunteer at. If there's things that help people, you want to be a counselor or a drug addiction counselor. I mean, there's so much in the healthcare that's going on. Man, we got mental health problems in this country that are just driving everything. At every age, whether it's teenagers that highest rate of suicide than ever, to seniors that are killing themselves more than anything else. We're the only country in the world where seniors are living shorter lifespans than longer. Every other developed country are increasing their lifespans. If you're a white middle-aged person in this country, you're decreasing your lifespan. And most of that is mental health related. So there's a lot of problems to work on, and there are ways to do it. And I think too, if you get active in doing something that helps your own mental health better than anything else, because now you're doing something in society. You're not letting, you're being in the spin cycle of society. That's what happens to most of us. We're in the washing machine, in the spin cycle. No idea what the hell is going on. So go out and create something, find out something, that you could get involved in, find out about more. That'll be good for your career and life after the COVID.